Now, I joined the group. It was a very close group. I've learned a lot from the group. It was an amazing group for me. I met a lot of people who weren't here today, like Hansi, a lot of different people who really affected us. And at one point, when in fact we are sort of dispersed, we're recycled for different ways, I ended up getting recycled into law school. And so that, between the politics of Midnight Notes, the politics of the struggles that I was involved in at the time, and going to law school, I sort of went in a different, although I was doing the same stuff, I went in a different direction. And that direction involved working day to day, like many of you here, with struggles, ongoing struggles of people on the ground. I'm not saying that Midnight Notes is not doing that, but I think each one of us does it in a different way. And my whole work from then on, as was Nancy's, ended up being working with immigrant communities in North America, particularly in Northwest, in the northeastern part of the United States. But it's really national, international work. And so from then on in, I was very much involved, and I got very much involved in the stories and the struggles of immigrants who ended up here. Now, Midnight Notes for me quickly helped me understand, gave me the skills to understand, the skills to even talk to people about why they were here and what they were going through and the struggles they were involved in. So quickly, I actually really started practicing in the late 80s, and new enclosures was something that we've been talking about, stories from Africa, all these issues. Peter was there. Peter was talking about history from below, talking about law as laws being political, etc. All those things made me understand there was really a key moment in this country when, in fact, the proletariat, this was a whole new wave of the proletarization of the class once again. It's sort of the new global working class. There's been many global working classes. Actually, I'm a product of that in my own way, through my parents, etc. But this was the new wave that was in the United States. And so what was going on and why were they here? And New Enclosures talked to all that. We represented a lot of people, Nancy and I, from Africa. All these people who were coming out of these struggles around New Enclosures. You know, a lot of people had gotten killed, a lot of people got harmed, you couldn't get out because people don't get out of Africa that easy, but a number of people were able to survive those struggles and move on. And we ended up hearing those stories and understanding that's what we were dealing with. We ended up touching a lot of people from Haiti, for example. Haiti, the neoliberal struggles of Haiti, and Dan and I were talking about it today. The struggles around neoliberalism in Haiti were immense, and the people in Haiti put up these incredible fights. Okay, we ended up touching a lot of people who had fled for different reasons and were here. But unless you understood those struggles, you sort of just you couldn't listen to, you couldn't understand what was going on. We ended up with time representing more and more women and children. In part was because we were becoming aware of it, in great part because of the work that women were doing around the world, around production, reproduction, etc. But also at that time, we ended up seeing more and more women because the destruction of societies had become so extensive that then it was now, men were the first ones to leave oftentimes, the women were left with everything. They would put up these huge struggles and then they would get targeted and then they were forced to leave. So we were dealing with women and children. So without that understanding of production, reproduction, wages for housework, new enclosures, etc., I don't think we could have really understood those issues. There were many issues in the legal community around, is this harm private because it's women, is it public, etc. And for us, the work that we had done with Midnight Notes clearly made it evident to us from the beginning. It was political. It was part of these struggles. It was the way that people were being attacked. That these women were very political people. They were not just the spouse of somebody who was here, etc. So those things really had an effect. And then in the 90s, increasingly we started seeing people who were looking for the one no, many yeses story, which is something that we've developed as a group. We were touched on by the Caffentzis. We learned a lot ourselves, but we started seeing all those stories come in from the people that we were dealing with. And that was very important, partially because I think many of those stories may have been there beforehand. We just didn't see it because we weren't thinking that way. But because of this work, I think we started seeing it. But second of all, the truth is, particularly in the Americas, that one no, many yeses type of struggles really take effect. So we started seeing people from Colombia. We started seeing people from Guatemala. We started seeing different people from Brazil, etc. People who had been really trying to organize alternatives and were being targeted for those alternatives. So that was an important thing. Then because of the wars, the oil war, that really affected us. We were Palestinians. We represented Palestinians, and we could understand that history a lot more. And then during the Reagan era, when all these this direct attack on people came out, and sort of an attack on the working class and the immigrant working class in this country really took effect. It was the work that we did at Midnight Notes. George did this great piece when you were in Mexico. You did a piece explaining sort of the immigrant history to the Mexicans and people that, the working class there. And all those things helped us understand how we could get involved in the pro-immigrant struggles in the United States, which, all of us as an immigrant community were involved in, and we had these huge strikes, ended up in this huge May Day, stoppage. So the biggest one that I can remember, where in fact immigrants and people around us, everybody stopped working, and it was an amazing experience for us because it was really a general strike. And the people that we worked with who were immigrants understood it as a general strike. And it was a strike against apartheid. It was a strike against the new apartheid that had been built in this country against immigrants. So that was part of the struggle. So the work that we did through Midnight Notes really had a direct effect on the work that we're doing, the people that I are doing on human rights issues. Okay, quick, I'll be real quick. Okay, the other thing I want to say about this is that not only did it help us understand the people who come here, but it helped us in our work. To begin with, in studying law is top down. Everybody tells you, there are all these laws that get made by the states, by private interests, and at the end of the day, they're the ones who control things. But through the work that I've done with our group, including the great work that Peter's done on the Magna Carta, the writing of the Constitution, the struggles around death penalties in England, etc., you end up realizing that really, as far as I'm concerned, you do law bottom up. You go to the people, you figure out what the struggles are, you work them through, and then you use those issues to change the law, to make the law. And that's how, in fact, we've been able to change asylum law as a community in this country for the last 15 years. And it's been a very effective way of doing it. So one thing is really connecting to the people, really understanding what they're saying, then using that to change the law from the bottom up. I did a small piece right after law school about deals, the law being the deal of deals. Well, I really believe that's the case at this point. You're constantly making deals. It's a struggle of deals. You use old deals to make new deals, and that's what the struggle is about. So it's a struggle from the bottom up. So once again, thank you.
And finally, Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Roger. I'm also speaking to you out of some complex emotions that I'm not sure I fully understand. The main one, in listening to my comrades at this point in the day's proceedings, is hope. I'm really glad to be sitting with them and with some new comrades and to listen to them. It's a calming experience after a night of tossing and turning and a year really of introspection about the work that we've done over 30 years. And I would like to express some gratitude and acknowledge some absences and make a few comments, first about law, and second about some reservations that I have of the phrase history from below. And finally, I might say a word about Marxism. At several times of crisis in my own life, Midnight Notes has saved my ass. I was homeless for a time, and comrades provided me with a roof over my head. Several times I've been unemployed, and comrades offered to share their own income. I sought help in parenting duties, and Midnight Notes was helpful. It's provided me with comradeship, support, encouragement, and dialogue. Sometimes it's been likened to a family. And in my opinion, it's become a dysfunctional family, which is why I'm so happy to be in a broader group, because there's something, I think, for me that's more important than family, and that's our class. And I would like to find a way of making that class. I want to acknowledge some absences, like Hans Widmer, Harry Cleaver, Steve Colatrella, John Russa, and Dave Riker, who've always added beautiful nutrients to our mix. I wish very much they were here. Welcome. Yeah, welcome. Good. Please come in, and there's we have chairs, and very glad to see you.
Yeah. Sorry to be late, but
Oh.
I'm from way upstate.
Yeah, I know.